The prostitution scandal still taking its toll on the Secret Service. A 12th agent implicated today and 3 more fired. Now that brings the total number of agents ousted in the wake of the scandal to 6. Time to bring out our panel. Marjorie Clifton is the national independent editor for GoVote.com in D.C. Scott Martin is the CEO and president of Accent Asset Management in Cincinnati. And Lindsay Piegza is an economist for FTN Financial. Okay, Marjorie, let's start with you. This scandal just gets deeper and deeper. What do you say?
I think that it's just a shame that the actions of a few are tainting the whole of the Secret Service right now. In fact, I was walking out of a coffee shop today, and I looked over, and the man holding the door for me was wearing a Secret Service uniform off duty. And I just felt so sad for him and many of the others that are good people that are now have their image tainted by this national conversation about the bad actions of these few. It's just really sad.
Lindsay.
You know, I want to feel bad for the agents, but this is really despicable behavior. And this is on the heels of the GSA spending binge in Las Vegas. So it leaves a lot of Americans scratching their heads wondering who's actually in Washington running this country.
Well, exactly. Scott, I mean, is there anybody in charge? Where's the boss?
Well, apparently President Obama, Jerry, is really upset, yet he hasn't said anything else about it. It's funny, though, guys. I mean, we're talking about it being a select few right now. We think it could be more, and I think it's kind of funny that now they're going to put some of the existing agents on a polygraph test to find out if they did this as well. Jerry, if there's anybody that could pass a poly, I would think it'd be the Secret Service guys.
Well, that's a good point. Okay. How about this story? House Budget Committee Chairman Paul Ryan telling Fox Business Congress will likely pass yet another CR continuing resolution calling for an additional $19 billion more than what he called for in his budget. This to avoid a government shutdown. Lindsay.
You know, this just speaks to the exact motive of what we've already seen out of the Democrats, out of control government spending. They've never wanted to have an honest conversation about reining in spending, and Republicans look like they're ready to go head to head on this, and the American people are behind them. Behind jobs they've made out of control government debt their number 2 issue.
Honesty and spending. Marjorie, I've never heard those 2 words in the same sentence when it comes to politicians.
Yeah, I mean, we can look forward to 3 more months of Republicans and Democrats duking it out, and this is indicative of a Congress that is completely stuck and unable to get anything done. So I think it's just unfortunate because the power of the is one of their greatest powers.
Power of the purse. Scott, what do you say?
Jerry, it's more scare tactics. I mean, it's this worrisome notion of, oh, the government's going to shut down, the national parks are going to close, nobody's going to get their Social Security checks if you don't give us a few more $1 billion to kick at the can down the road. I hate it.
Yeah, so do a lot of people. Listen, Utah has decided to opt out here, becoming the first state to authorize gold and silver as currency. The governor says individuals will be allowed to use gold and silver for transactions and currency exchanges, and the bill will help settle the state's debts. Scott, how does this work? Like, every day do you have to revalue your currency? I don't understand.
Jerry, I think that's a great point. I think that could be a lot of headaches when maybe you go to McDonald's the day before and then go the day after, and it's like suddenly more expensive for a coffee, even though they didn't change the price. You know, another thing is, too, Jerry, is how clunky is it to carry around a bunch of gold and silver coins? I mean, I know bills fold and you kind of drop them, but it's not near as heavy as those coins, so I don't want to carry them.
There's a practicality issue here, Lindsay.
But, you know, this is one of the biggest problems with a fiat currency. There's actually no intrinsic value with a fiat currency. It's essentially...
Are you talking about a car? I'm confused.
It essentially says that there is no value in the greenback. It only has value because the government tells us it does. But if the consumer begins to lose confidence in that medium of exchange and we no longer use it, well, that could be a very big problem, especially if this goes from a conversation at the state level to the international level. If we see international trading partners not willing to use the dollar, that could have very drastic implications for the U.S. economy.
We're not there yet, are we, Marjorie? I mean,
I think
as long picturing this.
I think as long as there's a Federal Reserve to back us up, I feel okay with it. I mean, I'm surprised there's actually enough demand for them to want to put this kind of legislation in place. I also can't see myself lugging a 20-pound purse full of gold bricks to the grocery store to buy my bread and milk, but, you know, fine. If there's people who want to do that, more power to them.
All right, speaking of going to the grocery store, how about Starbucks? Good news, Starbucks fans out there. The company announcing it will stop using beetles to color your strawberry-flavored drinks and desserts. But you may want to wait until June when the company actually makes the switch to tomato extract. Scott, apparently every company in the world does this. I didn't even know that, but a lot of other companies use beetles too.
They do. It's a dirty little secret, Jerry. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite things to do on a Friday afternoon after the show is have a strawberry dessert and say, beetle. So I'm going to be kind of disappointed when they change it in June, and I probably won't buy them anymore.
Lindsay?
Well, I guess the biggest concern was for vegans that want to go out and be able to purchase this product. So vegans across the country can rejoice now.
Nobody's angry they're eating bugs. We're worried about vegans?
They're more concerned about getting that strawberry frappuccino, and now they can.
I'm shocked. Marjorie, please weigh in.
I stopped eating bugs when I was about 2 years old, so I don't feel really excited about, although it didn't kill me. So, I mean, I guess what we don't know sometimes doesn't kill us. But at the same time, I can't say I'm going to be signing up to eat any kind of pink flavored or colored dessert or anything else for a while now.
How many vegans are there in the world? I mean, what is it, like 1 out of 1,000 that are serious enough to worry about beetles in their strawberry drink? Okay, whiz kids at Berkeley High in San Francisco suspended for hacking into the school's attendance system and clearing out tardies and unexcused absences from students' permanent records. The kids charged their fellow students upwards of $20 for each favor. The scam could lead to criminal prosecution. Marjorie?
Well, I guess cheating has always been there in time. It's just changed in terms of the medium. This was like something out of a spy movie to me for these students hacking in to the computer system. The time it would have taken them to figure out the codes and hack in, they could have sat through all of those classes and then some. So I think we need to channel their efforts into more productive uses of time.
Hey, Scott, it occurs to me that these kids are pretty creative.
Yeah, they must have read Ferris Bueller's Handbook, Jerry. You know, you ask for a car, you get a computer. How's that for being born under a bad sign? I think it's great for these kids. I mean, I blame this school. How weak is this computer system if kids can get into it?
It is pretty impressive that they were able to break into this computer system, but it is cheating, fair and simple. And this isn't the first case. Of course, we're dealing with the Great Neck, New York case of the SAT cheating scandal. So, you know, it really speaks to the idea of what kind of ethics are we teaching America's youth?
Well, they're teaching themselves, I guess, to make sure that they don't have any delinquent, that they're there. And, you know, and of course the adults probably had no idea what was going on, right? They were so far behind the kids, because that's the way it works. You got to find somebody who's 16 to help you with your computer these days. Marjorie, Scott, and Lindsay, thanks for coming on tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
All right. U.S. Airways struck deals with